Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm going to be talking about rebooting my biases. Well, if I were to ask you today, what are the 3 R's? Most of you, thanks to your environmental studies classes, would say reduce, reuse, recycle. But I'm here today to introduce you to my 3 R's. Realize, refocus, restart. Now, most of us here today would pose the question, why? Why the 3 R's? Well, when I started my life, when I started my career, when I started my studies, I was always very hyper-focused. And I realized with 2 instances, the course of my life changed. And I came to the actualization of the 3R mantra. Interestingly enough, these instances were also quite often characterized with setbacks. And therefore, I present to you my life in 3 chapters. Chapter 1, 0606. 0606, just 4 digits, right? Well, when I enunciate this number, I see a couple of gleaming faces in the audience. For those of you who do not know, 0606 was the subject code of one of the courses I took in grade 9 and 10. The subject was titled Additional Mathematics. And more importantly, it infamously earned the reputation of being a scholar's subject. Well, that opinion was well substantiated by the fact that we could only undertake the subject when recommended by the teacher. And I gleefully took challenge 0606. And being under this impression of self-actualization, I realized through the course of my life that probably it was not the best choice. Through the process, I also learned, and I read somewhere, that let the passion in you be the purpose. But through the process, I also learned an equation. That is, passion plus purpose equals performance. This equation held to be true in the first semester. Good grades. Second semester, better. Third, even better. Fourth, was we the best, right? Wasn't. That paper was a low-scoring encounter, and it wasn't even worth much. But it costed me a lot. It costed me my self-confidence. And being an overthinker that I am, I immediately went into deep contemplation. But what I didn't realize was that my board examinations were around the corner. R number 1, unchecked. I wasn't able to refocus myself to analyze and evaluate the mistakes I made. R number 2, unchecked. The passion had become the purpose, and the purpose no more the passion. I didn't start early, and blanking out while solving math problems was the new normal. R number 3, unchecked. And reciprocating the domino effect, my board examinations didn't go as well as I would have liked them to. Well, let's look at chapter 2, the rejection. Just last year, a couple of friends and I thought of establishing a foundation, one foundation. We were very overjoyed and enthusiastic about this project because, well, we strived for a purpose, and that purpose was to create a difference in the lives of others. One foundation was more than just a foundation. It was something that touched all of our hearts and was ingrained into the personality of all of its founders. We first thought of starting one foundation from our own community, our own vicinity. We started with the public hospital where we had 3 main aims. Number 1, to help the faculty manage the influx of people at the information desks. Number 2, repaint the walls of the hospital to create a better ambience so that the patients feel better. And number three, to use crowdfunding to pay for the medical expenses of those who could not afford it. It sounds an effective idea, right? Yes, it did sound an effective and hassle-free idea. Effective, it definitely was. But hassle-free, not quite sure. Well, that marks the end of chapter 2. Now, most of you would ask, but what about One Foundation? What happened to it? And that brings me to my third chapter, the coalition. Very often, or rather every 2 weeks, you'd find me outside the dean's office, seeking for permission for what not. And eventually, after 8 weeks that the project was initiated, my friends and I took a moment to realize, to reflect of what we stood for. And we posed a couple of simple questions. Is this what we started One Foundation for? Are we really doing justice to the needy patients, if not our own ambitions? We realized our number one. We were looking for orphanages, old age homes, health communities, volunteering clubs, etc., etc. We were refocusing us. Our number two. And today, we started a conjecture where we are about to start another project, another ambition, another dream, another endeavor. A journey of faith and a belief that would be written down in the story of my life. And hopefully, in that of the others as well. Currently, One Foundation is a part of me, but I am waiting for the time where I become a part of One Foundation. Because social work is not about free time. It is full time. And you gain by giving. The question is, gain what? I gained an outlook, a perspective, an experience from the work I did. So can you. Lastly, if there's anything I learned from Albert Einstein, that is, no problem can ever be solved by the level of consciousness that created it in the first place. With that, my time has elapsed, but yours has just begun. And always remember, Control, Alt, Delete. Realizing, refocusing, restarting. Thank you.